We are multi-dimensional infinite consciousness having a brief experience called you. The focus of attention that the body gives us on a narrow band of frequency, and we call it human, we call it the world, it's just a frequency band of information.
And only by putting us in this state of a consciousness, if you can call it that, state of mind, more accurate, can the few control the many on the scale that they have and do. You know, I have this thing, I just mentioned it a few minutes ago, when you go, we get so close to things, and therefore they become so normal that we never question them. Take a deep breath, take a step back, look at it again. Look at life. Someone said to me the other day, in fact, they've said to me many times over the years, similar things. What's life all about? I mean, you're born, and then you grow, you go to school, then you go to college and they teach things and stuff, and then you get a job. Most of the time it's a job you don't like. Gives you no satisfaction, but you do it because you have to do it, because you have to earn money to live and survive. And then you get older and you kind of have children and they go the same thing. And then you get even older, and then your body starts to go and you start getting pains and it's more difficult, and then you've got lots of health problems, stuff like that. And then you die. You know. And if you've pleased some guy with a beard or whatever, then you go to a nice place when you die, and if you haven't, and you look at it, and people don't live overwhelmingly, they exist. They stay alive between point A and point Z. And this is life. I think we can do better than that. The reason that's what life has become is because we have become people who have, who live not a life, but a program. A computer program that follows the program through what we call life. And instead of living life, we let life live us, the program live us. And the program is working all the time to keep us in a hypnotic state, because that's, as I'll come to, is basically where most people are at, in a hypnotic state. And it's incessant. Tick tock, you are feeling sleepy. You have no power. You must serve the system. It's a mind game. It has to be a mind game because there's not enough manipulators to physically control the population. So they have to do it through mind, through perception. And through that, by the way, get the population to police each other. They put us in prisons of the mind where we instead of expanding out to all possibility, we have these belief systems, which are nothing more than programs, computer programs, religion, politics, race, self-identity.
We are multi-dimensional infinite consciousness having a brief experience called you. The focus of attention that the body gives us on a narrow band of frequency, and we call it human, we call it the world, it's just a frequency band of information which we're interacting with like Wi-Fi. I symbolize it in the answer as a bubble. You're in the 5 sense bubble. You put people in the 5 sense bubble, the perceptual bubble, and now instead of getting insight from expanded states of awareness, you are operating in a bubble of perception. And the idea from the couple's point of view is you isolate people in the 5 senses, and then you dictate the information that isolated consciousness gets. So you isolate people in the five senses, and then you program their perception of reality. This is exactly why we live in the world we do, and it's exactly why people see the world as they do. Now, how do we burst the bubble? We redefine our self-identity. If you say to most people, "Who are you? Pleased to meet you. Who are you?" They'll give you their name, they'll give you where they come from, they'll give you their job, they'll give you their life story, they'll give you their labels, they'll give you all the things that we give labels to. I am a man, I am white, I am British, etc. But they're not who we are. They are what we are experiencing incredibly briefly. And if we can ditch the labels and see them for what they are, a brief experience, and self-identify with the consciousness, ultimately, potentially, all consciousness having an experience, then that very expansion of self-identity, I'm not little me anymore, I'm not Ethel on the checkout or Bill at the call center, I am a state of infinite awareness having an experience, then that expansion of self-identity or triggers an expansion of consciousness. So you're no longer confined in forming your perceptions to the bubble anymore. But when you say, I am consciousness having an experience, everything changes.
So many people do that. They go through their lives thinking the norm in society is the only possible perception of reality. And because the majority appear to believe it, therefore, by definition, it must be true. Truth does not change because it is or is not believed by the majority of the people. The multitude is always wrong. And invariably, when you look through what we call history, it turns out that way. It is the people who have challenged that have moved us forward in terms of our understanding of who we are and the nature of the world we live in. Few centuries ago, the majority believed. Why? Because those people perceived to be all-knowing, the scientists and religious people of the day, said the earth was flat. And if you went too far, you'd fall off the edge. And people were jailed and vilified for saying, actually, it's a sphere. And then when the evidence becomes overwhelming that the earth is actually a sphere, then that becomes the new norm. And now anyone who says that it's flat is now ridiculed for believing that. The difference is, what is the norm accepted in society at any one time? And that's the truth that people follow. We live in a world of conflict and war where a few people control and hijack the wealth at the expense of the vast majority. We live in a world which, take a step back, deep breath, look at it again, is utterly bloody insane. And we're asked to believe, and so many people do, that we are somehow at the cutting edge of human evolution. We're nowhere near the edge of what is possible and what is there to be known. But the norms are very powerful, especially when we are constantly manipulated and confused with contradictory information, and when we're pressured to believe it, otherwise we'll get ridiculed or condemned for being different. Free our minds from the programming